What's up, YouTube? My name is Jason, and this is my take. And I'm back with another video, and today we're gonna do a kinda late review of the new KRS-One album, IMaMCRU12. The teacher, KRS-One, has dropped the album, and I gotta give a big shout out to my dad, man, because he put me on to KRS-One as a kid. Like, I know a little something, all right, Boogie Down Productions, KRS. Love's Gonna Get You is like one of my favorite hip hop songs of all time. So it's cool to see KRS-One putting out another album. My dad put me on to him, and my dad also told me that this album was out. I had no clue that KRS-One was still rapping. But listen, I'm glad he still is, because on this album over here, KRS-One is rapping like he was rapping back then, like still so lyrical, still so hungry. There's a reason why this man is talked about as one of the greatest rappers of all time. Like it's clear. And honestly, there's really no theme or like concept here. It's really just KRS-One just rapping, like just doing what he does best. And there were some standout moments on this thing, so let's dive into it. The beginning is an aggressive opener. Like, this man still sounds like a young, hungry artist the way he came in on this song. And like, there's no hook, no chorus or anything. Like, this man is just rapping for like 3 minutes. Krazy might be my favorite song on the album. The way that this man was flowing on this track, I've actually never heard him rap like this. The thing is, it felt like a more modern flow, but KRS-One made it look easy the way he was rapping so fast. Like, insane. And that's why I come back to this track a lot. The song Achieving the Levels was a pretty interesting track. As I was listening to this and catching what he was talking about, it seems like this was a song that was stronger than the others when it came to KRS-One, like addressing the newer generation. KRS-One's rapping on here did, of course, come off with him talking about how great he is and what he does as a lyricist, but there were a lot of different moments where he's talking to the younger generation. And this one, it felt like really summed up a lot of the disconnect that there is between the older and the newer generation. And I have my opinion on it, and that's that I wish there wasn't such a big disconnect, because I think that it's a beautiful time in hip hop. There's so many different subgenres, so many different lanes, and a lot of beautiful music being made. And when I hear older people kind of complain about what they're hearing, I think that it's a weird take, because if it's the mainstream that you have an issue with, okay, like the mainstream hip hop does have a particular sound, particular content and everything, but the hip hop that you miss per se, or that you want, that was relevant to you, is still happening right now. There's so many artists that still embody what is missed or what isn't happening. But we just look at mainstream like that's all of hip hop, and that's the biggest mistake that people make. So I personally never liked the argument, and I feel like there shouldn't be a disconnect, because the hip hop that people miss, or that the old heads miss, is still present and is strong. Like, but you got to dig beyond what you're hearing on the radio, because there's so much music. But I digress. Knock 'Em Out was a highlight for me as well. I love the ode to Slick Rick on this one, and I guess Slick Rick like featured on this, because on the original song with Slick Rick, he says knock him out the box Rick, but on this song it's changed up to knock him out the box Chris. I thought this was an interesting song, because I love how KRS-One speaks on his greatness, and talks about how no one compares to him and what he does. And he also kind of says that to the newer rappers, the newer generation of rappers, while also like giving them advice, or like also talking to them. It's like, you're not as good as me, but like, let me also talk to you. Like, I think that's very funny how he does that. Also enjoyed the song Nothing to Say. It sounded like there was like a xylophone like in the beat, and I really loved how it sounded with the melody, along with a very funky bass line. Also enjoyed in the beginning of KRS-One's verse how he references Jimmy Hats, which is a nod to one of his older songs, Jimmy, that is talking about condoms and safe sex. KRS-One was really coming for a lot of rappers on the song Have to Wait, and really just emphasizing how rappers back then weren't doing what he was doing, and even to this day, no one is doing what he is, and he has an argument when it comes to his lyrical ability. I also enjoyed the finale on this one, Think Bigger. There were some of the hooks on this album as a whole weren't the best, and it was good that KRS-One got a singer for this last one in Simone. And I really enjoyed how he closed things up and the message in this one about thinking bigger and just talking to rappers about just thinking about the bigger picture of hip hop and just continuing to evolve this sound and continuing to grow. Because if the future looked back into the past to see what was going on, like, it should feel good about what's coming to them, rather than being worried or not being happy about how, you know, we get to this point. So look, those were some highlights, but let's dive into some moments that weren't the best. I'll say as a whole, my biggest issues with the album were some production choices. Now I gotta give KRS-One credit though, because while some of these songs and the production sounds a little dated, he makes up for it with just such amazing raps. And I think that that's pretty special. We usually kind of see it the other way around, where a song can have an amazing beat, and that makes up for an artist not really doing much vocally or lyrically. But KRS-One still held his own with a lot of tracks on here, despite it not being the greatest production. First song I'll talk about is the song Club Rippa, which, you know, starts off the second half of this album where it kind of lost a little steam, in my opinion. Now, I'm familiar with the fact that KRS-One has Jamaican roots, and I think his father is Jamaican. So this song was like, you know, a ode to his roots, but yeah, just didn't do it for me. It felt kind of out of place on the project as well. Next is the song Wet It Up. And I just couldn't get with the song. The beat and the production really was just throwing me off so much that it was really hard to focus on KRS-One. And I hate that because the man was rapping, like, he sounded great, but production matters sometimes. I was not feeling KRS-One singing on the hook for the song Innocent featuring Sun-One. Honestly, the beat felt like too slow. Like, I felt like it could have been sped up. And while this wasn't an issue for when KRS-One jumped in, I think it was way more apparent in the first verse with Sun-One, and his verse just really didn't cut it for me. But look, overall, man, it's projects like this from artists of the older generation that always impress me. When I think about what Nas and Jay-Z, for example, are still doing at this age in their 50s. KRS-One doing this, I wasn't expecting this. I didn't know that this man was still making music and making it at this level. Still a lyrical powerhouse in the game and still has a lot to say. And, you know, I'm wondering if you know, he's still gonna keep it going. I mean, he doesn't sound anywhere close to being through. So I'll be tuned in if he's still working and putting out projects. This was a solid listen. A few misses on here and some outdated production in my opinion, but overall this was still dope, and I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. So what were you guys' thoughts on this new KRS-One project? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What were your favorite tracks? Let's have a discussion down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for tuning into another week of videos. Got more coming for you next week. That new Benny Tana Talk 4 is coming, and I'm super excited. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm Jason. This has been my take, and I'll see you guys next time.